Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of those around the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before I begin, I'd like to set out just a couple of housekeeping rules. You may have noticed the session will be recorded. Since time is of the essence today, please post any questions you have in the chat. Any questions we can't quite get to, please send them to the transformation team's inbox, which Marion has kindly shared in the chat just now. I'm now very pleased to introduce our Chief of Transformation, Clarabelle Pujol. Over to you, Clarabelle. The floor is yours.
Thank you all for being here with us. We're excited to share experiences with you. And thanks to all our speakers and to our external guests from Deloitte and Capgemini. I'm Clarabelle Pujol, Chief of Transformation Team at ITU. Today, you will hear about ITU's people-centric AI transformation. You will see some real examples of AI-powered solutions that are helping ITU and our members become more efficient and effective. You will also hear from two guest speakers about how AI is revolutionizing organizations all over the world and how AI is helping UN organizations, us, in our programmatic planning and results-based management. These are real concrete examples. As our Secretary General underscored earlier, UN 2.0 vision is not just aspirational, it's operational. It's about rewiring systems, shifting mindsets, and building capabilities to deliver more impactfully and equitably. And how is ITU walking the talk? When it comes to the UN 2.0 vision, we start with our people. We are equipping staff with the skills, tools, and confidence to use AI responsibly. This involves human-centered design, ethical AI training, and inclusion in co-creating the digital solutions that impact their work. Transformation isn't about just adopting new tools. It's about changing mindsets and making staff feel they are part of shaping the future. So ITU is deploying actively AI-powered solutions across business areas on high-value use cases such as HR, conferences, council decision-making. That's common to all of us. You have already heard from the SG's avatar. You will shortly see some real examples of how we are using AI at ITU directly from the people who use them. Lastly, on capacity building, which is key, a broad staff engagement strategy is underway, including upskilling programs to ensure teams are equipped to work with and alongside AI with the right support. We have early adopters, AI champions, who share lessons learned, helping to foster a culture of experimentation and continuous learning and motivate themselves. So I hope you enjoy our session. I'm back to you, Pim. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Clarabelle. And as you've just said, we're now going to dive in a little bit deeper and hear from our own ITU staff in their own words. Our first speaker is Nagar from our conferences and publications team. Over to you, Nagar.
Thank you, Pim. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. We're very happy to be able to share with you today some of our AI-powered tools and solutions we've developed at ITU to support our language services. AI solutions are in fact more and more important in our work, both to support and complement our professional linguists and as self-service products for staff and ITU membership. These tools have great potential to expand the availability of multilingual content, which is in line with multilingualism as a core UN value. And of course, AI-powered language tools are driving efficiency gains and cost reduction. So in this demo, we will show you three of our tools: a web and document machine translation tool, which is in full use and very advanced, an AI editing tool in beta phase, and an AI-based e-summary tool in prototype version. So now over to Aladdin, who is our machine learning developer and who will show you more details on each of these tools. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagar. So my name is Aladdin, and I am machine learning developer at ITU at the Conferences and Publication Department. So the first tool I will be presenting will be ITU Translate, which is a set of AI-powered machine translation tools for documents, web pages, and segment translation. So ITU Translate dashboard is the screenshot you are seeing here is the ITU Translate dashboard. As you can see, we support multiple engines, both commercial and in-house trained. We have an automatic post-editing feature based on GPT-4o, and also we do have a manual post-editing feature that I will be presenting later on. We have a dedicated platform for our delegates to translate their own documents by using the drag and drop feature. We support multiple files such as PDF, Word, PPT, and Excel. We also have a direct integration of ITU Translate into our document management system, and where delegates can request an official machine translation. We always have a disclaimer in place. And as you can see in this screenshot, that we do gray out the language as soon as human translation or official translation is available. Here is an example of a Word machine translation. As you can see, we include a watermark into the translated document, and it keeps the formatting of the original file. Another example for PDF. Here is also a direct integration of our translation tool into our website, public-facing website, both on WordPress and on SharePoint. As you can see also, the plugin on WordPress, it does take care of the formatting of the page based on the language. Also, as you can see in this notification, which appear usually always after requesting machine translation, we have users have the possibility to send us feedback or comments regarding a specific web page if there are any errors or mistakes of translation, or just give a general comment about it. And once we receive these requests, we then use our manual post-editing, where we interact directly with the translated segments, and those changes are reflected in real time into our production website. We move on to our next tool, which is the ITU Editing. It's a tool customized to follow the ITU English style guidelines. The editor has the possibility to add any special request. It does support different type of texts, general or communication text. Also, it supports different tones, such as professional or political. As you can see in this example here, it does highlight the changes that it performed on the text, and the editor has the possibility whether or not to use the ITU English style guidelines. The aim of this tool is really to harmonize the text of ITU, and also to improve machine translation. As you know, if the source is good, the machine translation will be good as well. Our next tool will be ITU Summarize, and it's a tool using AI-based transcription system, fully hosted in-house using open source models. So the aim of it is really to produce the summary records of videos. So the interface looks like this, as shown in this screenshot. So by transcribing our videos, we can also have timestamped on the transcript, and then we vectorize all these transcripts. We index them and then make them searchable. Then we can search where a specific word was spoken during a meeting. And then by clicking on Explore Details, we are presented with a full transcript together with a video and subtitles, and the summary record based on the ITU template for summary records. Over to you, Pim.
Thank you, Negar, and thank you, Aladdin. Our second speaker today is Vicky, ITU Strategy and Policy Advisor. Over to you, Vicky.
Thank you, Ping. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to introduce you to this mapping tool. It's also developed using AI. It's developed in-house and currently is in its prototype phase. We are actively testing it to explore its potential. But first, let me explain why we created this tool. In ITU, our members requested us to work on the harmonization of the outcomes of the Plenipotentiary Conference. PP, as we call it, is our main governing body, where our member states meet and propose, discuss, and approve ITU resolutions every 4 years. Currently, we have over 127 PP resolutions in force, and each of them with, in most of the cases, an extensive operational part or mandate. So we knew this task that came to us was going to be really hard work. So we went straight to our AI experts. Our first request was how to organize, classify, identify main parts of all these resolutions, and also to make it fast. So Aladdin will show you how he did. I just want to tell you this was of great help for us in the strategy and planning division, being able to identify all 127 resolutions by categories, search by theme, by instructs. It is being really helpful for us. So this tool not only will help us achieve our task of harmonization, but we also aim to go further and see how we can monitor and evaluate implementation of resolutions. And additionally, we also aim to make it available to our members to help them prepare inputs for the upcoming Plenipod in 2026. Having said this, I will pass the floor to Aladdin to present the tool. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Me again. So okay. So the platform for resolution mapping is shown in this slide. So we have we took our resolutions, we converted them into XML to have structured data, and then we extracted all the instructs and resolves parts of the resolution, and then we feed them into an AI system where we summarize them and try to convert them into actual actions. Once we did that, so we were able to then classify them into predefined categories. So in this screenshot on the left, as you can see, the different categories. Clicking on a category, then we can have all the actions related to this category. We use some machine learning models to classify all the actions. We also could extract to whom the action was addressed to. As you can see in this first action, it is addressed to the Secretary General and the directors of the bureau. Then clicking on more details about a specific action, we can get then similar actions so that to see or to find out any overlaps between actions or between resolutions. All this is done semantically using vector databases. And since we have all the actions vectorized in databases, so we could then build on top of it a search engine to search all actions. And then finally, we also developed some mapping or some network graph, since we have all actions vectorized. So the idea here is really just to see how the actions are connected and how much are similar, and then we can see clusters of actions based on a topic. So over to you, Pim.
Thanks very much, Vicky, and thanks again to you too, Aladdin, clearly a master of all trades. Last but not least, a warm welcome to Sheila from our HR team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sheila, and I'm from the Organizational Design and Recruitment team. So in the organizational, in our team, we handle a lot of job descriptions for classification and for posting of vacancy notices. So we have put in place a prototype agent to help us with the drafting of these job descriptions. And what we will do now, what I'll do today is show you how the agent works. Okay, so we have an agent where we have all different prompts, and the prompts are basically messages for actions, for the various actions that are required. What we will do right today is to go through the creation of a job vacancy note, a job description for a vacant or new job description. So what we do is you have to enter the details of the job description, so the title, the grade, and the department in which it is located. In this case, what we will do, we will ask for a project officer at the P3 level in the Digital Society division in BDT. And the good thing about this is that it's in a few seconds. it generates draft job descriptions based on a standard the standards that we have. So it takes the templates of the already existing job descriptions and populates it using references to which it has access. So it has access to a repository of already classified job descriptions. So within seconds, you see the draft vacancy, the draft job description, sorry, with its various components. So you have the organizational context. It gives you where the supervisory and also the department. And also you will see it gives references of the job description that it's using to pull out the duties and responsibilities. So all the sections of our templates are fully generated through this agent. And if you want additional details, we just, for instance, want to have more details on the duties and responsibilities. It also then generates a new version, including additional duties and responsibilities. And we're hoping this, as I mentioned, this is a prototype, so it's not yet been deployed, but with the intention is to deploy it and have it used by hiring managers for them to generate job descriptions. And also the purpose is to reduce the time it takes for HR to review, because we know that when we receive the draft, that the documents are based on pre-existing job descriptions. Over to you, Pim.
Thanks very much, Sheila, and indeed, thank you to all our ITU team today. This is a very nice segue actually to our next section now, where I'm delighted to introduce the first of our two external guest speakers, Felix Herrmann. Felix is the head of AI transformation at Capgemini Invent Switzerland and a leading expert in how the private sector is leveraging AI in HR. A very warm welcome to you, Felix. The floor is yours.
Many, many thanks, Pim, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Just before we start, quick show of hands. Who woke up this morning thinking, I can't wait to fill out more spreadsheets? And I don't think I need to give it a lot of time to wait for responses here, because probably that has brought you to this room today. So I'm passionate to bringing AI to life. So cutting the bullshit, speaking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And in the following few minutes, I'm going to share some insights around AI in HR that come from two sides. First, from my work that I do with international organizations on making AI reality, especially in HR. And second, from some research that I did with the University of St. Gallen on what differentiates the front-running companies in AI to more the conservative organizations that there is. So AI is here today, and it's a clear reality that we see every day, and that we are all confronted with every day. The question is, do we embrace and do we drive the new possibilities we have? Or do we maybe risk a bit being overtaken by it? And especially in the case of HR, I would love to start with a quick reality check. So maybe if you're an HR professional or if you're regularly interacting with HR, you haven't heard about those challenges. Firstly, there's an admin overload. There is payroll, there's compliance, there's vacation requests, and the never-ending game of HR being absorbed by their very own processes. Also, in the last 10, 15 years, talent acquisition was the name of the game, supporting either growth for organizations or finding that very right talent in the right place with the right skill set at the right rate and supporting the business day by day. But that's been hindered by tech gaps, by data silos. Today, every of the departments of an organization is often like an island nation of information with no ferry in sight. And if the ferry comes, we call that ferry Excel. We don't have proper interfaces between all of this. And lastly, there's also a people experience that is broken. How do we interact with our employers? How do we act on our job? And I want to deepen on this in a minute, because I think this is one of the biggest achievements we can do. All of those 5 things here, they aren't isolated. They're just symptoms of a thing that really matters to all HR. And HR isn't just overwhelmed. We ask HR to transform itself while it's still running at full speed. And this is the real challenge ahead. And AI comes in here just at the right time as a clear opportunity for HR to support this change. Now, I promised on people experience. It's a bit shocking, but when we ask people, we see that only 1/3 of them are happy in their organizations. In contrast, their bosses, 9 out of 10 of their bosses think, oh yes, my people are doing great and they love the place here. So that's not a gap, that's a Grand Canyon. And we see that we have different realities in our organizations just by asking 2 different people. And more than that, even 2/3 of the staff we employ in our organizations don't know what success looks like for them. So they're busy, but not really sure of busy doing what for which ambition. And this shows us that there's a tremendous amount of work to be done. And AI won't be miraculously solving all those problems. But we see that some organizations in the industry that have been early in adopting AI are incredibly successful in leveraging AI to improve. When we speak improving, what could that be? Now, on one side, when we ask leaders, they think they can reclaim out of seven hours a week, so almost a day for most of us. And this is time that they can use to coach instead of coping with administration. But it's also, even on entry-level tasks, even more surprising or even more impactful. We can expect that they save more than 1.5 days by 2029 on their work. And again, this is not about headcount reduction. This is creating headspace for those professionals that we hire into our organization to do the remarkable and letting humans be more of humans by being augmented with AI. Now, one particular company has been again and again in the news about being front-running in AI, and that was Moderna. And I would love to spend a minute just looking at what did that company do well, or why has this company developed the way they have now? And for that, I want to take you back on how it all started. And it's not that far. It's back in 2020. You might remember the pandemic has hit us hard in that year, and Moderna, as a vaccine producer, was trying to win the race against the virus during those years. But they were a startup. They were a fraction of the headcount that a big pharma company would have for the very same job. So their HR was hiring like crazy. They struggled still to be fast enough. I've seen them working, and I can tell you, those people, they were working at light speed. They were working 50, 60, 70 hours or even more a week, and it was a clear crisis mode for all employees. So then AI was announced, and they went bold. While we were all discussing about ChatGPT, is it a gimmick, is it safe? They made it safe, made it available to all employees, and adopted heavily in HR. So you would have seen their AI solutions growing like mushrooms everywhere and easing just a bit the pain that every employee had. There wasn't a magic solution, no big bang. It was a thing where the entire organization worked for. And the funny thing was that while implementing this, we've seen that the value people created and their creativity spiked because their jobs went from chasing admin things to really think about how can I create value. So in total, what they really did is they deployed a bunch of agents, one of them, for instance, answering employee questions. In seconds, instead of creating a ticket and a junior coming back, they automated processes like pay grading and other things just by using super prompts. So this is not a fancy machine. That's not a fancy machine learning, not rocket science. This is what your children probably do every day to do their homework today. This is basics, and you can still do something with them. And that led them eventually to even merge their HR and IT into one organization under the same leadership. So HR was so forward-looking, visionary, and strong in adopting into the new world, that the value even spread across and even showed that HR, which is a totally untraceable move, is capable of moving forward and developing a digital organization. So we went back then and asked the Moderna people, after they have implemented AI, how do you rate the impact? And the surprising thing was that they rated the impact even higher than those people that haven't even started implementing. When we look at the news today, we always see the overhyped expectations of AI, but at least for this case, it seems like you can even sometimes achieve more than you were initially thinking with it. So just by taking small steps, just by taking the lead. And Moderna is not different than any other company. There were a hell lot of challenges on that way. They significantly, by design, disrupted existing structures. They went from a structured organization to somewhat like who does it is in charge by doing it mindset. So people were jumping on topics and finding their own resolutions regardless of team or unit. You could say it's chaos, but just like in any other organization, that helped them. It helped in adopting. And of course there was resistance, but they decided to make AI everybody's job. So it was at one point a strategic priority for the board, but at the same point, a grassroots movement where people just started developing AI solutions, small super prompts to ease their own pain they had. And I think that was for me in that year a very important personal lesson, because it taught that basically bold beats the comfortable here. And when you think you can do something, give it a try and be curious. So some of you take that corporate case maybe a bit as theory. So maybe we take Laura to just look at her day. And Laura, when she started at a forward-looking company, she was really afraid. Will AI steal my job? And with that, Laura is far from alone. It's every second knowledge worker who has fear of their own position. And when we look at that, we see in the analysis that there are much more diverse and complex driving forces behind our jobs. But if we put all of them in the equation together with AI, it turns out that we're actually capable of creating much, much more value as employees of any employee in the organization when we embrace AI. And those who use it, that's statistics from last year, even see that rewarded in their salaries and in their ratings. But maybe at that point, let's go back to Laura and look at Laura's day. And this is not sci-fi, this is possible today. So imagine Laura starts her day, gets on, and the first thing she learns is how her diary has evolved, how her one-on-one with David might have been shifted to 10:30 without needing further ado from her, because that's admin task that the agent took care of. And at the same point, it gives her pre-drafted talking points. So Laura is never unprepared for a meeting. Same at the 9 a.m., 10 a.m. meeting. It's always helping her to recap, to get her mind fresh on what's important in that very conversation, and giving her the information she needs at the tip of her fingers, so she can focus on being human, on being in this conversation. Then imagine it goes further. You have a job posting out there. You want to hire someone, and the system already screened all potential, also internal candidates, where you have a bunch of information and is ready to arrange interactions for you. Internal talent mobility is key in today's time, because probably none of our jobs will look the same in 3, 4, 5 years. But we're, as people that know the organization, such a great asset that internal talent mobility is the key priority for HR on sustaining through these times of rapid change. And lastly, imagine you don't need to do your reporting yourself. All the KPIs are wrapped up. top highlights are raised and next steps are indicated, AI can help you to turn data from insight. So when you look at it, Laura isn't replaced. She is replaced from a paper pusher, maybe digital paper pusher, but in the end a paper pusher, to become more a people architect. And that's what we as HR professionals should be doing. So see, there is no extra headcount, no all-nighter coding. It's just talking to agents, while Laura has the capability to talk to humans. And that's the big trend in HR. Imagine a future in HR where attrition is predicted before the exit interview, where hiring is aware of the biases that are always there, and it helps us to take the right decision, where learning nudges come exactly at the right point, just before you're about to make a mistake. It saves you from the embarrassment. And compliance, as a super important topic, runs silently in the background like an antivirus, protecting us, but not an big annual audit. So all of this is what we see today already possible, what companies do. It's a setting in the menu which we just haven't yet toggled on, so to say. With that, there's 3 things that I take away from this. And the first thing is, be curious. Ask those what if questions until this question feels ridiculous, and then test exactly this. Be bold and experiment. Try what happens if you do this pilot, even if it's so small and maybe even scrappy. But if your pilot fails, you win in any case a big, big learning. And lastly, you might feel sometimes you cannot keep up. Everything is moving so fastly. So welcome to the club. Today's developments are super fast and you cannot keep up with everything. So my final advice is, don't even try to keep up, but take your steps at your pace, learning about AI. Stay curious. It's never too late. It's never too far behind. But all those people that are telling you to know everything, they are faking it. Just stay curious and take one step at a time. And with that, to close this, the UN and every organization in this room stand at an inflection point today. AI will never be able to sign sustainable development goals, but they can help us accelerate every single one of them, from equitable hiring to rapid disaster response. So the one challenge on this Friday morning, evening, afternoon, I would love to give to all of you is, when you walk out of this virtual room, take one experiment in mind, small enough just to try next week, but bold enough maybe to change something next quarter. Because in the end, the future of work, it's not knocking politely. It's our all job to now do something about it. And if we embrace it, if we design our own futures, we can be the change that we all want to see, be it as employees, as leaders, or simply as human beings. So many, many thanks for having me here today. And over to you, Pim.
Many thanks to you, Felix. Some really quite sobering, insightful, and thought-provoking anecdotes there. I see actually you've generated a lot of discussion in the chat already, which is a good reminder that we'd love to hear from you. Please keep your questions coming, and indeed do use the transformation inbox, and we'll get back to you on there as well. We'll now be bringing in another perspective, this time from Deloitte. JN Hill is the global consulting partner to the UN. JN's team leads on flagship projects in the AI space with different UN agencies. So a very, very warm welcome to you, JN. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Pim, and thank you, Clarabelle, for the invitation to join the webinar today. I guess with just a quick background around what we're doing with Deloitte. I don't know if the slides move on here. So quickly, my role within Deloitte is I lead our global consulting practice in relationship with the United Nations. We've been working with the UN and the Secretariat ever since the declaration of the UN 2.0 working mainly around the different components of the quintet of change around innovation, data, digital, predictive foresight in behavioral science. And we've supported them around, you can go to the next slide, thank you. We've really supported around the 5 different dimensions in different areas with different UN agencies in the Secretariat. And one of the key aspects of what we've done is looking at how you take the Declaration and Ambitions and supported Kirsten Yauer and others in the team to really transform that into the policy statements, but also deliver concrete projects. And what we want to talk to you today is around how we've got an example around how an AI solution is actually supporting both the UN 2.0 and the UN 8 initiative to help become more efficient, more effective with the resources you have, as we know it's becoming more and more challenging. So we're not here to preach to you about the benefits of AI. If you're on this call, you understand those. What we really want to do is focus on some concrete examples. So if you move to the next slide, you'll see that here are 4 different use cases that we've delivered at a UN agency. And I'll come back to how they come together in a moment. But you see, this is in the area of planning and resource allocation, and ultimately compliance. So the first use case is a situation analysis assessment that can be used in a country operation around collecting internal and external documents at that level, helping support the translation of these documents and providing a consolidated analysis around what is the situation analysis. This could be used in a humanitarian setting regarding refugees. It could be regarding human rights. But it gives you the first step in part of the process of understanding what is the context that you're operating in. The second is around program support. So really helping create a program related to your results-based management framework that allows you to create a program from the contextual data of that situational analysis, which will help you identify the resource needs, the resource budget allocations that are needed, but also it'll help, all of that together will help you improve your donor assurance and providing more trust in the process of bringing this together. The third use case is taking those 2 inputs and actually harmonizing the multi-country scenarios. We all know, a country doesn't operate in isolation. There are borders, there are transitions of migrants from one to another. And so being able to bring these summaries together into a regional perspective helps provide kind of that quality assurance across regions in different countries. And then the last use case scenario is regarding a policy management assistant, very similar to your very impressive policy management tool that you demonstrated earlier. So congratulations on that. But this actually starts to take the policies that you have and apply it back to some of the planning that you've put in place. I think my key message here is, as you look at these individual use cases, the real power is to actually reimagine the processes that you have internally by a combination of steps, allowing you to provide an end-to-end process that you have. So if you look at the bottom, what we've taken is each of these use cases and combine them together to help create an end-to-end process. Start allowing you to create your multi-year strategy program from the use case 1, use case 2, taking your strategic priorities and theory of change into your results definition, your monitoring and evaluation plan, and ultimately your resource allocation. The output is actually a budget that you can upload into your ERP system that allows you to do this. And then finally, bringing that global strategy coherence from the bottom-up country strategies and making sure it's coherent with your global strategy and your global policies. So this process in many organizations can take anywhere from 3 to 4 months. what we're seeing is that it actually has been narrowed down to just a matter of weeks, and is allowing them to move much quicker into the execution as to the continual planning. So where are we now with this project? If you go to the next slide, we started with an initial workshop looking at 20 different eligible processes and creating different use cases. We then prioritized those down to 4 use cases into a workshop, and we focused really on a pilot. The pilot is much better than a proof of concept. What we see is some organizations are falling into the proof of concept trap by trying to take on too many different proof of concepts and not really seeing it end to end. We think it's a better approach to follow a pilot approach where you invest a bit more time, test it out in real life, see the success, and then look at where you go from there. In December, we actually then started to roll that out across 136 countries, across member states. And from there, we're now moving on to the functional expansion of additional use cases that have been in place. The power of AI is not in the individual pilot or functionality, but it's actually in the breadth of scaling these solutions across the organization. In terms of the results, if you move to the next slide, you'll see that we are overachieving the expected target results of what we were looking at in efficiency. So the current results in different scenarios are anywhere from 35% to 90% efficiency metrics. These metrics are declared by the users themselves. We baseline them at the beginning of the program around these processes. And then afterwards, we did surveys getting their feedback on the use case time savings. What we see, a nice byproduct of, in addition to the efficiencies, a nice byproduct of this is actually we've also seen an improved employee confidence level of using AI, where it's gone from the mid-50s up to 80%. And so people engaging with scenarios like this helps build trust, which is key to AI and key to bringing this together as you look forward. If the big question that we have around whenever we do these projects is how do you get started and how do you really get the overall benefit? And so if you go to the next slide, we usually take three key approaches. First is that requirements and design. The key is engage the organization in that use case discovery in programs and departments. But don't just do that as identifying use cases, but really identify the expected targeted savings and benefits to the organization. I think the difference in approach that we follow is really that business case driven approach to make sure that you've set targets at the beginning and you've prioritized around the most cost efficient and the biggest savings, and then you implement and deploy. In the second phase, it's really about building those out. I mentioned it earlier. Don't follow the proof of concept trap. Use a pilot, narrow it down, invest more in 1 or 2 things than spreading across too many different areas. This is the area where you can really reimagine the processes that you're following and really driving a campaign of socialization of the engagement of people in the evaluation and testing as you look to go forward. And then finally, the phase 3 around the scaling and operate. I think this is where Felix and I would have similar perspectives in the sense that it's not all just about the technology and making it available to people. In some cases, and especially the case that I've demonstrated today, we've created a step-by-step process of leveraging the Gen AI model to actually create a different outcome. And that process required a bit of training, hand-holding, and intake, but now the organization is able to take that and do their own capability of building across different functions and organizations. So these are the 3 steps that we would recommend. happy to share more information and answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JN. That was a really comprehensive overview. I've actually seen quite a few questions already pop up in the chat, for which thank you very much to all of you. I think we were able to answer a couple. I know Felix jumped in on one about the definition of talent, which was particularly interesting. But we'd like to engage more. So please do reach out to us via the email that Marion shared in the chat, so that we can get in touch and we can have a bit more time for discussion. Speaking of which, we are now at time. So this is just a real thank you to our speakers, Deloitte, Capgemini, Felix, JN. Thank you so much for your time today. To our ITU team, thank you. It's great to hear from you. And then, of course, thanks to all of you, our audience, for your time and your questions. And we hope today's session has inspired some food for thought. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.